It's Saturday, May 9th, 2026. Recorded live from the English Valley's History Center. Here's Jackie.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jackie Garinger McDermott. We're at the English Valley's History Center, and we have an acquisition of the week. These are 1960 Converse All-Star basketball shoes. They've got red, white, and blue on them, and they belong to Carolyn Warner Elwood. She was a forward, and she played 6-on-6 basketball for English Valley's High School. Now we're going to go to the diaries. This diary was written by Libby Wade. She was my dad's great aunt, and her full name was Mary Elizabeth Claypool Wade. She was 76 years old in 1950. She lives in a house on East Oak Street in North English, Iowa, with her son, Russell Wade. Here is a picture of Lib in her younger years. November 1st, 1950. Nice yet this morning. Russell went early to weigh turkeys. Didn't come back before going to work, so I'm lazy. The Catholics are all out, a special holy day, so I was told. Their services start early, 7:30. Russell Wade is Lib's youngest son, and he works at the Home Lumber Company a block away. They have a nifty scale out front that you can drive on, and it weighs your load. One other time, Mr. Romine brought his turkeys in to weigh them on the scale. Lib cooks all 3 meals for Russell, usually every day, so if he missed breakfast, she had time to be, in her words, lazy. Lib lives a block from the Catholic Church so she can watch the traffic headed to Mass. Since she is Protestant, she does not know much about the Catholic holy days. November 1st is the Feast of All Saints in the Catholic Church. I baked squash for dinner. The oven is fine. Lib has been getting used to her new electric range, the first electric stove she has ever had. Russell brought the mail. My check, the griddle I sent for to Kitchen Club, and a letter from Jim Flooring. His address is VA Hospital, Castle Point, New York. His health must be pretty fair. He and a friend have had a garage but are selling out. The other man is going to the Army. Jim expects to be married. His wife died in 1947, he said. Skipper is in California in the Navy, and Norma Jean is taking nurses training in Cedar Rapids. Eugene Leroy, or Jim Flooring, was the grandson of Mr. and Mrs. Ernie Weimer and the nephew of Maggie Wade. He was raised in Hinkletown, east of North English, where Lib taught school and lived as a young bride. Jim's parents, Lee and Blanche Weimer Flooring, had both died of tuberculosis when they were young, 34 and 44 years old, respectively. Jim Flooring served in World War II in Europe and then was told to get his affairs in order because he had tuberculosis too. He was in the VA hospital at Castle Point, New York in 1950 when Lib was writing to him. His first wife, Jenny, passed away in 1948. Jim Flooring recovered and was married in 1952 and moved to California, where he worked on microwave ovens and spy satellites. Jim consulted with Dave Jackson on the Hinkletown book. One of the places Jim and his brother Don, or Skipper, as Lib calls him, and his sister Norma Jean lived while growing up was with his aunt and uncle, the Felix Floorings, who were the grandparents of my listeners Alice Flooring Stramer and her sister, and also the grandparents of Joyce Klemick, my boss at Integrative Health Services, or IHS in North English. Mrs. McDonald stopped in. She told of an attempt to assassinate President Truman. We hadn't heard of it, but I did hear it on the evening news. Trace McDonald was a neighbor who was the housekeeper for Father Dugan at the Catholic Church a block away on Boland Avenue. And here's a picture of President Harry Truman. On November 1st, 1950, Puerto Rican secessionists Oscar Collazo and Grisela Torresola attempted to assassinate President Harry S. Truman at Blair House during the renovation of the White House. Both men were stopped before gaining entry to the house. Terrasola mortally wounded White House police officer Leslie Koffelt, who killed him in return fire. Secret Service agents wounded Colasso. Truman was upstairs in the house and not harmed. 2 days before the assassination attempt, Puerto Rican nationalists had attempted to overthrow the government of Puerto Rico. Uprisings occurred in many towns, including Jayua, where one of the would-be assassins was born, and in neighboring Utado. During the uprising, the U.S. Air Force bombed and strafed both towns, badly damaging them. In acknowledgement of the issues related to Puerto Rico's status, Truman supported a 1952 plebiscite in Puerto Rico. 81.9% of the votes were in favor of Puerto Rico continuing as a free associated state of the U.S. Colasso was convicted in federal court and sentenced to death, which Truman commuted to life in prison. In 1979, President Jimmy Carter commuted the sentence to time served, and Colasso was released. I made some buttonholes for Judy's jacket. Lena brought it in this forenoon, red flannel. Judy Wade was Lib's youngest granddaughter, and she graduated from English Valley High School in 1959. Lena Wade was Judy's mother and married to Lib's middle son, Warren or Mike Wade. They are having Lib make the buttonholes because she is an excellent seamstress. Russell went to Williamsburg with Mildred and Neva Stover this evening. Jenny called up. Frida is not very well. Belva is better, was over today. Mildred Reese is Russell's girlfriend. Jenny is married to Lib's oldest son, Wayne or Perky Wade. They are the older couple in this picture. Frida Wade is married to Jenny's son, Walter or Bud Wade. And Belva Yoss is Jenny's oldest daughter and Lib's oldest granddaughter. The young women have not been feeling well this week. The weather has changed to colder. Not very cold, but the wind is blowing and it looks stormy. November 2nd, 1950. War news is not so good this morning over in Korea. The Chinese are taking part in great numbers. Will be a long war, I'm afraid. News about the president. Another guard died during the night from injuries received. Lena and Judy were here. She took the red jacket home with her. I sent a letter to Marvin Geringer this morning.
Thank you.
Marvin Geringer was my uncle and Lib was his great aunt. He was stationed in Texas with the Air Force. He is on the left side of this picture with Squirt Wilkerson in the middle and J.B. Miller after they got to Japan. Talk to Bertha. Glenn has re-enlisted in the Navy. Will go to Great Lakes as a cook. He expects to have his family with him. He will go about the 15th. Bertha Geringer is Lib's niece and my grandmother. She is on the right side of this picture with her Aunt Lib on the left and her sister and two brothers. Louise Long is her sister and Jaunty and Otis Claypool are her brothers. Glenn or Sparky Geringer is Lib's great nephew and my uncle. He had been in World War II in the Navy as a cook and is on the left side of this picture with his 10 younger brothers. After dinner, I set out some plants I had here. Lena went down to Tracy's. She had called her to come. Judy stayed here. Tracy Wallace was the mother of my grandpa John Geringer. Tracy's second husband was Frank Wallace, who was Lena's aunt, as he was the brother of Lena's late father, Roy Wallace. Tracy lives down on East Washington Street or Smoky Row, a few blocks away. Hattie came over, walked over for the first time since she got home from the hospital. Hattie Newberry Killian is Lib's friend who lives over on Boland Avenue a block away. She has had a hysterectomy and is fighting cancer. Mrs. Lockridge came home last evening. Her sister's funeral was yesterday. Addie Lockridge is another neighbor and friend. She is on the left side of this picture from the 1954 centennial taken at the Christian Church. According to the North English record, she had been to Troy Mills to the funeral of her sister, Mrs. Emma Simmons, who had visited North English many times in the recent years. Tracy wanted to talk to Lena about a dresser that was Lena's grandmother's. After supper, Jenny came up. She is working an edge on a scarf of Melva's. Melva Wade is married to Jenny's son, Harold or Stub Wade. Russell went uptown. The Fuller Brush man was here today, McGillicuddy. Fuller Brush was a line of products that were sold door to door. Don Hall cleaned our oil burner today. We need another barrel for fuel oil. Don Hall runs O.D. Hall Appliance uptown. Saw in the paper, Royal Dean Longs have a new boy. Royal or Dean Long was married to Phyllis Worrell, who would be the aunt of my friend Janice Worrell Semler. Royal, Dean, and Phyllis's son was Dennis Dean Long, who was born this week. The family later moved to the Cedar Rapids area. November 3rd, 1950. Cloudy and cold. A big change in temperature. I made buttonholes in Judy's jacket this a.m., got dinner, etc. Afternoon, read the paper, and then started to do dishes. Mary R. came, was going to town. She is not feeling very well. Had a cough and don't look so good. Expects to go to Sigourney tomorrow to the doctor. She said she don't sleep very well now. Mary Regseger is Lib's neighbor. She's a friend from down the street. She was seriously ill earlier in the year. Mary is in the back row on the right side with her late husband, Fred Regseger. Maud came, was here a while. Then after she went, I washed dishes. Maud Claypool is a neighbor and friend and is married to Lib's nephew, Ray Claypool. Mary Ann came and read the record until I came into the room. Mary Newhouse is another neighbor who often runs errands for Lib and reads the North English newspaper at Lib's house. Emmett Agnew went to the hospital yesterday. Emmett Agnew is the son of Lib's neighbor to the east, Minnie Agnew. I saw in the Cedar Rapids paper that Michael J. Callan Jr. died in Iowa City Hospital. He was 63 years old. We lived next door to his parents in Parnell. Before Lib moved to North English with her son Russell, she used to live in Parnell with her son Wayne or Perky Wade and his wife Jenny and their children. Mary Ann told me that Leona is to have a craft party tonight, plastic work. Leona Bursler lives with her husband Levon Bursler at the home of his aunt Hattie Killian, across the street from the Catholic Church on Boland Avenue, a block away. The war news is bad today. More Chinese are helping the commies. We had supper a little late. Walter called at 7:30 to tell me I have another great-grandson, John Edward. He had just arrived, I think. Later, about 9, Walter called. The first one who called must have been Wayne, and I thought it was Walter. The baby was born at 6:33. All are fine. Wayne or Perky Wade is the father in this picture, and his son, Walter or Bud Wade, is on the right. John Edward Wade, who graduated from English Valleys in 1968, is Bud and Frida's younger son. November 4th, 1950. The coldest we have had was 19 degrees someplace not far from here. About 22 degrees here. Clear and bright, but cloudiness and some rain predicted. Continued cold all day. I made pies, an apple, and a custard. The first pies I baked in the new stove. Got dinner, etc. Rested a while in the PM. Judy came and got her coat that I made buttonholes in it. Mary R. stopped in on her way to the bus this morning. She brought some crochet patterns yesterday. I made one last evening and today. A six-sided. Pretty, I think. Mary Regseger was walking down to the bus stop uptown to take the Greyhound bus to Sigourney to see the doctor. North English had bus service in those days. Here is a picture of one of those buses a few years later. Hazel and Bobby were here this evening. She took some books back to the library and brought more. Lim's granddaughter, Hazel, is married to Glenn Cobb, and they have adopted a little boy. Bobby Cobb, who was in the English Valleys High School class of 1966. Received a letter from Anna. Mylan is to take his physical exam November 8th. The other boys are likely to go soon, too. Anna Cray is Lib's daughter in Texas. She and her husband, Richard Cray, have 3 boys who are eligible to join the service. All 3 of them ended up going to the Navy. Mylan Cray is the oldest, and his brothers are Arlen and Burl. These are Lib's 3 grandsons from Texas. Warren and Lena are going to Oskaloosa this evening. Shopping, I guess. Phyllis is in Cedar Rapids for a day or 2. Judy and Sandra went to the show from here this evening. Warren or Mike Wade and his wife Lena have 2 girls, 19-year-old Phyllis, who's on the right, and 11-year-old Judy, who's on the left. Sandra Hahn, whose name is now Sandra Shetler, is Judy's cousin. The show they saw tonight was Curtain Call at Cactus Creek, starring Donald O'Connor, Walter Brennan, and Gail Storm. Wayne Bursler brought us a chicken, $1.50. The girls came back after the show. Ray Johnston was with them. They told about some Jones children, boys, being taken to an orphanage. They have been in school here. Beveline Stewart Lown has a baby boy born this morning in Sigourney Hospital. She and Frida are both from North English. Randall Craig, or Randy Lown, was the baby boy born to Bev and Stan Lown today. He was in the English Valleys class of 1968. The English Valleys History Center has been operating on Main Street in North English since 2006. The center operates a museum, monthly programming, a community coffee shop, and provides meeting spaces for groups and organizations. These include family and class reunions, celebrations, gatherings, and club meetings. The History Center offers all of its services by donations only. It does not have annual memberships like many other historical organizations and relies largely on private and community donations. It is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and donations are tax deductible. Your support of the History Center would help continue its operations and provide a valuable community asset. Please send donations to the English Valleys History Center, P.O. Box 70, North English, Iowa 52316. Mark Claypool said, Jackie, I'm always amazed at the amount of research and time you spend each week, and may I say you are a blessing to the community with your knowledge and dedication. I ran into one of my listeners at a graduation, and I was kind of amazed that he is a listener, as he is several years younger than me and not from North English at all. He remarked that the broadcasts are about a much simpler time. I wanted to show this picture again in detail so that we can go into it in more detail. I showed it last week. This is the North English Boy Scout troop from 1956. In the back row are Dan Shin, Scoutmaster Joe Rogers, and Lonnie Rogers. In the middle row from left, John Reese, John Ross, Ned Cassidy, and Dean Reese. And in the front row from left, Larry Bell, Orlando Don Jr. or Lanny Hall, Frank Martz, and Brent Morgan. Harwood Hogendorn is not pictured. Another picture I found recently while researching this week is in plain sight here at the History Center, over by the picture of the Armagh Church on the north wall. Since the diaries I read each week are from my dad's side of the family, I don't talk much about my other side of the family, my mom's huge Catholic family from west of town. Her family attended Immaculate Conception Church at Armagh and later St. Joseph's Catholic Church in North English. This is the Armagh Choir from 1905, back row from left, S.G. Hurd, Harry Wagner, May Van D, Ida Convey, Father McCarville, Amanda Harris, Arnold Wagner, and John Hughes. In the middle row from left, Lottie Wagner O'Rourke, Elma Wagner, Millie Wagner, Lucinda Hurd Wagner, Annie Convey, Mary Convey, and Maggie Van D. In the front row from left, Jim Hughes, May Gross, and Ambrose George. The next alumni luncheon will be June 1st, 2026 at the Main Street Pub and Grub. Please contact Alice Stramer or Linda Carter for seating. In case you hadn't heard, North English Main Street has been updated with a new overlay. Here is my brother Lou Geringer on his mower testing it out. Programs. The next program will be Sunday, June 28th at 2 p.m. Mike Williams from Kyoto will be presenting Automotive History, a Personal Obsession. Mike is a retired teacher from Kyoto, and I think this program will be great. All of the programs at the History Center are free and donations are accepted and treats are provided. Here's a picture of one of Mike Williams' vehicles. This is Susie in a 1958. Susie Allison Lundberg is also a 1958 model. Our sympathies this week to the family of Jerry Dennis from the English Valleys class of 1964. This is a picture of Jerry when he graduated. Jerry was the older brother of my classmate, Connie Dennis Pfeiffer. I am headed out on a couple more small vacations, so I won't have a broadcast for a while. We are headed to Topeka for the graduation of Bailey Trachta, the granddaughter of my friend Patty Fobert. Then the next week, I will be going on an overnight mystery bus trip. Since I'm feeling so much better, I wanted to take advantage of this time to travel. See you next time, which will likely be May 30th. We are also interested in learning about historical English Valleys items that you might wish to donate to the History Center. Please contact Dave Jackson, Scott Romine, or any board member to donate. Thank you for listening to our broadcast today.